Coming up at 11, more than $13 million has been raised for Eastern Kentucky flood survivors. But one question remains: how is that money going to be spent?
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening. I'm Olivia Calfee. Many in the mountains woke up to some ice on their vehicles and in their yards this morning, and we may see another blast of precipitation later on tonight. Meteorologist Evan Hatter has been keeping up with what's going on and has the latest on this first alert weather day. Evan?
Well, that's right, Olivia. We continue to watch the potential for a little bit of snow in a small part of the region. Many of us dry, just cold and cloudy tonight, but others will have the possibility for at least a light dusting of snow or even some sleet out there. Here's the look from UVA-wise. Temperatures right at 30 right now. You see the campus is well lit, of course, but not too much in the way of any inclement weather right now. Same thing in downtown Whitesburg, where the roads continue to dry after an active day this morning at least. Upper 20s to low 30s out there at this point. Still temperatures in the middle 30s. Jacksboro, Middlesboro, Harlan into Jonesville right now. That is where we're seeing a little bit of everything right now. In fact, let's zoom in and we'll show you what we're dealing with. Let's zoom back out and zoom back in. You can already see pinpoint Doppler indicating the potential for some flurries in parts of Wayne County, McCreary County, sneaking now into Campbell and Claiborne counties in East Tennessee, Whitley and Pulaski counties, seeing a little bit of flurry activity and maybe even seeing a few more of those as you head over toward Prestonsburg and Pikeville. But most of this to our south right now. They have the greatest threat of seeing anything as we head through the overnight hours. You see, we've still got a little bit to go before this system is done with the region. Again, the main threat further to the south, but we're going to have to keep an eye on everybody, at least for a little while tonight. In just a few minutes, I'll have the details on when we warm things back up. Olivia?
Thank you, Evan. Today, the father of a 7-month-old child that died in August said the baby reportedly rolled off of a couch onto a hardwood floor. A Rockcastle County grand jury indicted the boy's mother, 23-year-old Kirsten Durham, and her boyfriend, 32-year-old Jonathan Durbin, in connection with the death. The boy's father said Michael Scott was discovered hours after he rolled off of a couch. Michael's father said both Durham and Durbin were asleep when it happened. Now Kentucky State Police are investigating.
You know, I don't think anybody wants to hurt their child. And sometimes your actions and your behaviors that can cause a child or another human being to get hurt.
The baby's father said that he tried to get Michael from the mother and her boyfriend, but it was too late. He says he hates to see anyone locked up, but he believes there will be justice. Both Durham and Durbin are charged with manslaughter and criminal abuse second degree. They are scheduled to be arraigned in Rockcastle Circuit Court in April. Tonight, Betsy Lane Elementary School students and staff are mourning the loss of 8-year-old Jose Daniel Vasquez. Daniel was one of the 2 people who died after a car crash on Kentucky 1428 on Monday. Betsy Lane Elementary School Principal Jonathan Parsons said, quote, "Our Betsy Lane family is heartbroken at the tremendous loss of Jose Daniel Vasquez. We could often find Daniel at our home basketball games cheering on the Bobcats while spending his time with friends." 39-year-old Paula Vasquez of Prestonsburg also died following the crash. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says a missing man may have been making his way towards Richmond. Yesterday, officials posted on Facebook that Timothy Hobbs was last seen by a family member near the Phillips Gas and Grocery on December 26th. At the time, Timothy was walking north on Highway 421. He is described as being 5'11" and weighs 130 pounds. He also has a scar on his left side of his nose and a mole on his chin. Police are asking you to call 606-287-7121 or 606-287-9979 if you have any information about where he might be. More than $52 million was raised to help Western Kentucky tornado victims. Some people not impacted by the tornadoes, though, say they have received $1,000 relief checks mailed directly to them. Governor Andy Beshear said his administration authorized $1,000 checks to be sent to anyone who filed a claim with FEMA or private insurance companies during the tornadoes. But now it appears there may be some fraud at play.
These are dollars that we were really blessed that people provided, and I feel good about how we've put them to use. Now, we'll work to find any dollar that went somewhere that it shouldn't have and to get it back. But there are a lot of people out there that rightfully receive those checks that are helping their families.
Officials with the Public Protection Cabinet say they sent out 10,040 checks. 184 were canceled, which is about 1.8%. Officials say they are still giving out funds following the state's accounting practices. Today, Kelsey Soto asked Governor Beshear whether this could also happen with the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund. The governor says because much less money was donated to flood relief, the state won't likely be sending as many checks like that to flood victims. Most of the money that has been donated has already been earmarked for long-term rebuilding. As Chad Hedrick explains, foundations and people in the communities say they still desperately need donations to continue rebuilding.
In December 2021, Kentuckians and generous givers around the country answered the call to donate after deadly tornadoes in western Kentucky. Just 7 months later, that same call to action after deadly floods in eastern Kentucky.
Following the devastating tornadoes in western Kentucky, we opened the Team Western Kentucky Tornado Relief Fund, and we saw generosity flow from around the world, $52 million that otherwise we wouldn't have been able to spend to help those families.
But for flood relief, just over $13 million have been raised.
We know we are going to need about 3,000 homes that either need significant repair or need to be rebuilt or relocated.
For the last 6 months, the Foundation for Appalachian Kentucky has worked tirelessly to raise money beyond the Flood Relief Fund, knowing every dime given is vital to recovery.
Our job is to keep that in front of people, that we have a long way to go. We were having a housing crisis before this flood. We will be having a bigger housing crisis now and over the next decade.
To date, the foundation alone has raised close to $10 million, with just about every dollar raised going out as soon as it comes in.
Well, in the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund right now, all the remaining funds are going towards long-term rebuilding. There are sadly fewer dollars in that fund. We need more, so more needs to go directly up front into it. The
foundation says they won't give up the fight for the families who have lost so much and want to stay in the area they call home. Chad Hedrick, WYMT Mountain News.
ARH was one of many organizations who helped those affected by the July floods. Now it has started a new campaign. Hearts for Hope, ARH's newest flood relief campaign, began today and will continue through Valentine's Day. All proceeds from the campaign will be distributed to long-term recovery groups across the region, which then directly assist folks who are still in the recovery process.
Each county has a long-term recovery group that is set up. They have caseworkers who are helping to make sure that all victims get every resource that is available to them. And they also have what's called an unmet need committee.
Folks can visit local Community Trust Bank, KFC, and Long John Silver's locations to donate, or you can donate online. You can also find more information about the campaign on our website at WYMT.com. Things are looking up for one Letcher County business now that it is reopening following July's devastating flood. Floodwater ravaged the Isom Vendors Mall 6 months ago, threatening the livelihood of the owners, workers, and the 65 vendors who had items within the business. The mall's owner, Crystal Watson, says there were only a handful of workers and a generous lumber donation from a local distribution site that helped the business get to where it is now.
Honestly, I would have to just sit down and do some totals, but we have depleted every source of savings, loans, everything, just to try to get back open.
Watson says this reopening could offer a sense of hope to other businesses that they can come back better than before. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, the deadline to increase the nation's debt limit is quickly approaching. How President Joe Biden's State of the Union address may influence Republican votes. And several Republicans have introduced impeachment documents against the Homeland Security Secretary. Why they say the documents are necessary. Coming up, plus.
And the last of the showers scoot out by tomorrow, and quieter weather is on the way. The latest coming up.